Ph.D. in law from Harvard. German social scientist and diplomat. Embraced Islam in 1980. Dr. Hoffman, who accepted Islam in 1980. He was born as a Catholic in Germany in 1931. He graduated from Union College in New York and completed his studies in law at the University of Munich, where he received a doctorate in jurisprudence in 1957. He became an adjunct researcher for the reform of federal civil procedures and in 1960 received a master's degree in law from Harvard Law School. He was Director of Information for the NATO in Brussels from 1983 to 1987. He assumed the post of German ambassador to the Algeria in 1987 and then to Morocco in 1990, where he served for 4 years. He performed the Umrah, minor pilgrimage, in 1982 and the Hajj, the pilgrimage, in 1992. Wilfred 1_002. JPG. Several important experiences led Dr. Hoffman to Islam. The first of them began in 1961 when he took up the post of military attaché at the German embassy in Algeria and found himself in the middle of a bloody guerrilla war between the troops and the Algerian National Front, which fought for the independence of the Algeria for the last 8 years. There he witnessed the cruelty and the massacre that the Algerian population suffered. Every day, a dozen people were killed, executed at close range, just for being Arabs or for speaking in favor of independence. I witnessed the patience and resilience of the people Algerian in the face of extreme suffering, his unsurpassed discipline during the Ramadan, your confidence in victory and also your humanity in the midst of misery. Felt that it was their religion that made them so, and consequently began to study his religious book, the Quran. I never stopped reading it, until today. Islamic art was the second experience for Dr. Hoffman on his journey to Islam. From an early age he has always been an admirer of art and beauty and ballet. All of this was overshadowed when he came to know Islamic art, which had an intimate appeal to him. To referring to Islamic art, he says, "Its secret seems to lie in the presence of Islam as a religion in all its manifestations such as calligraphy, ornamental arabesques, carpet patterns, architecture of mosques and residences and also in urban planning. Sanitary towel in the glow of mosques that banish any mysticism, and in the spirit of its architectural project. I also think about the introspective quality of the palace's Muslims, their anticipation of paradise in shaded gardens, fountains and streams. In the socially intricate functional structure of the old centers, Medinas, which encourage community spirit and market transparency, which tempers heat and wind and ensures the integration of the mosque with the social center for the poor, schools and hostels adjacent to the market and residential blocks. What I experienced is so blessedly Islamic in so many places. It is the tangible effect that Islamic harmony, the Islamic way of life, and the Islamic treatment of space leaves both in the heart as well as mind. Perhaps more than all this, that had a significant impact on his search for the truth, was his profound knowledge of Christian history and doctrine. He realized that there was a significant difference between what a faithful Christian believes and what a teacher of history teaches at the university. He was particularly bothered by adoption of the Church of the doctrines established by St. Paul in preference to those of the historical Jesus. He, who never met Jesus, with his extreme Christology replaced the original and correct Judeo-Christian view of Jesus. I found it difficult to accept that the humanity carried the burden of original sin, and that God had his own Son tortured and murdered on the cross to save his own creations. I started to realize how monstrous and even blasphemous it was to imagine that God could have failed in his creation, that he had been unable to do anything about the disaster supposedly caused by Adam and Eve not having a child, only to sacrifice him in such a bloody manner that God might suffer for humanity, your creation. He returned to the basic question of existence of God. After analyzing the works of philosophers, such as Wittgenstein, Pascal, Swinburne, and Kant, arrived at the intellectual conviction of the existence of God. The next logical question he faced was how God himself communicates with human beings so that they can be guided. This led him to the recognition of the need for revelations. But what contains the truth, the Judeo-Christian scriptures or Islam? He found the answer in his third crucial experience when he encountered the following verse from the Quran: "No sinner shall bear through the fault of others." Quran 53-38. This verse opened your eyes and provided an answer to their dilemma. Clearly and unambiguously, rejected the ideas of the burden of original sin and the expectation of intercession for the saints. A Muslim lives in a world without clergy and religious hierarchy. When he prays, he does not do so via Jesus, Mary, or other holy intercessors, but directly to God, as a believer fully emancipated, and that is a religion free of mysteries. According to Hoffman, a Muslim is the emancipated believer par excellence.